Hello everyone and welcome to meditation again for our Mindfulness Mondays edition. Today we're doing a meditation on mindfulness, as you can probably guess from the title. We're just going to start though with a few stretches to get us into the move and into the groove for meditation. So last week we did a few stretches for our neck. This week I think we'll do a few for our shoulders, because sometimes these can get a bit tight, especially if you've been working all day, doing some heavy manual handling, or if you've been sitting at a desk all day with your, typing and keyboard work. So I guess we'll start with just a few rolls of the shoulders. So just lifting up to the ears and rolling back and down. This is just a movement stretch that just gets some movement through the joints to help give blood flow to the area and hopefully reduce some tension after a few more stretches. And going forwards now, and if you can hear in the background there, my puppy's playing with his toy, so apologies if he's a bit loud. You won't hear him in the meditation, luckily. And then we'll do the same for our wrists. So I said we'll do shoulders, we'll do upper body. So we'll just do a few rolls for our wrists around in circles and other way. Bit of a dance move I've got going on here. And then we'll just go up and down with the wrists, really gently. We usually start off these meditation sessions just with a few minutes of stretches, so we won't go for too long. And going side to side. And then holding one arm out and pointing your hand down, we're just going to stretch the wrist extensors. So these muscles, they can sometimes get a bit tight. So keep holding down. Just a gentle stretch here. And then opposite way. If this doesn't hurt, then you can give it a bit, but if it's starting to hurt, perhaps just a really light, gentle push. Whoops, there he is. And you might also feel it through your biceps. Make sure you have a straight arm. These biceps can tend to get a bit tight, especially if you're driving or typing all day. Because when we're sitting there with our hands on the wheels or hands on the keyboard, our muscles are very tense there. Keep holding that stretch. If you can, try and hold it for a bit longer. But we'll switch over to the other hand now. So hand down, straight arm if you can. Keep your shoulder away from your ears. I know I just had mine up here, but shoulders away from the ears. And other way. And then we'll just bring our hand across our body and give our shoulder a nice stretch. So thumb up if you can, straight arm, just using this other hand to pull into your body. And switching arms, this will be our last stretch. Thumb up, straight arm, you should feel it through that shoulder joint. I look forward to the sessions we've got coming in May, and we've got another 2 weeks after this session, so I hope to see a few more people log in. We've only got a couple today, so hope that the video will be just as good for those of you who missed out. But we're going to get started now on the meditation. As I said, we're doing a mindfulness meditation today by a lovely meditation person on the Calm app. His name is Shinzen Young, so hopefully he'll be quite interesting to listen to. I'm just going to share my screen and audio now over to the other side, so give me a second to do that one. There we are. Oops. Sorry, let me stop sharing. I didn't click audio. Share with audio. I'm going to mute my microphone and camera now so that it can take over, and I hope you enjoy the meditation.
Hi, my name is Shinzen Yang, and I'd like to talk to you about mindfulness in everyday life. Take a moment to stretch up and settle in. Since this is a practice of mindfulness in everyday life, we're going to do the technique with your eyes open. If you've never practiced with your eyes open, this will be a new learning experience. But in daily life, we have our eyes open. We have to look at the road. We have to make eye contact with the person we're talking to. We have to keep our eyes on the equipment we may be using and so forth. So eyes open practice is a very relevant training. You may be pulled to a visual experience, a physical sight, or a mental image, even with your eyes open. You might be pulled to an auditory experience, a physical sound, or mental talk, internal dialogue, internal monologue, and so forth. You might be pulled to a body experience, perhaps a physical sensation, perhaps an emotional sensation. If you're pulled to something visual, a physical sight, a mental image, or even perhaps a visual restful state, your eyes defocus, your mental screen's blank. If you're pulled to anything visual, inner or outer, an activation or a state of rest, say to yourself, see. Make that mental label and pour all your attention on that visual experience. It may immediately vanish, or it might stick around. Either is natural, either is fine. If it vanishes, be aware of that vanishing, that impermanence. If it sticks around, soak into it for a couple seconds. Pour your awareness into it. Likewise, for auditory experience. If you're pulled to something auditory, mental talk or mental quiet, physical sound or physical silence, say to yourself, hear. And once again, be aware of one of two things. Either that auditory experience instantly vanishes, or it doesn't, and you can sort of pour your awareness into it. Open to it, get to know it. And likewise with body experience. It could be an inner activity of emotion. It could be a metaphorically outer activity of physicality. Or it could be something restful in the body, like physical relaxation or emotional neutrality. If you're pulled to body, say to yourself the word feel to remind you to really experience your body in that moment. If you're pulled to 2 or 3 of these modalities, just choose one to focus on, to label. If you were to say the labels out loud, it would sound something like this. See. See. Feel. Hear. Now your pace may be somewhat faster or slower than mine. But notice the sort of gentle, matter-of-fact voice that reminds you to fully appreciate and welcome each visual, auditory, or somatic experience. You can start doing that now. Good. Stay with that. The longer we work, the deeper we train. In any life situation, there'll always be potentially something visual that's relevant, something auditory, something somatic. So you can use this technique to focus on what's relevant to any life situation. If you're going through an inner experience of thought, emotion, part of that is visual. Mental image, part may be auditory, mental talk. Part may be somatic, emotional body sensation. The external world, physical sight, physical sound, the physicality of the body. These are often relevant to a life situation. And if we're willing to somewhat artificially place smell and taste, the chemical senses, within the category of body or feel, then we've pretty much got everything covered. Mental image, mental talk, the physicality of the body, the emotionality of the body, the physical sights and physical sounds of the environment. It's all good. Let your attention broadly float. If you're pulled to two or all three of the modalities, at a given instant, just choose one to name and claim. By name, I mean give it the mental label see or hear or feel. And by claim, I mean make it yours. Metabolize it. If it instantly vanishes, it takes you with it back to its source. If it sticks around, you can soak into it, merge with it, metabolize it. The parts that will give you energy and information will be retained. The parts that have no use will be dissipated, and you will grow moment by moment through this mindful relationship to ordinary experience. Inner, outer, active, restful, it's all good. See, hear, feel. Broad float. You're developing 3 core attention skills that are key to all aspects of human happiness. Concentration power. In this case, momentary concentration on what you're seeing, hearing, or feeling, unless, of course, it immediately vanishes. You're also developing sensory clarity. You see what you see, you hear what you hear, you feel what you feel. And you're developing equanimity, the ability to allow sensory experience to come and go without push and pull, without self-interference. It turns out that self-interference turns pain into suffering and prevents pleasure from being optimally fulfilling. With equanimity, we reduce suffering and elevate satisfaction with ordinary experience. Or put another way, ordinary experience through the lens of extraordinary awareness shows you its extraordinary nature. yet another way. You're developing the ability to completely experience the moment.
Thank you for listening / watching that meditation. It was quite insightful, wasn't it? To finish off today, I just want to say thank you for those that attend, and I hope that the video people who are watching are enjoying it, and I look forward to seeing you next week.